All right, everybody, we're back again for another Reup Productions Podcast. Today we have Marie Gibson with At Properties. Marie, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to say I was kind of doing some research online about you, and something that really stood out to me was you giving back and doing some stuff with was it G.E.M.S?
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was really cool, and that really stuck out to me. So yeah, that was admirable. So really cool.
Thank you. You.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that probably since 2020. So there was a point where I was like, I really want to do something that ties me back to my community. I really want to give back. How can I do that? And I reached out to my my church community, and they had this program through the ARC, and I was like, oh, well, this is perfect. I always want to mentor, and it's perfect. It's specifically for young girls between the ages of 13 to 18, which is the pivotal point of a young woman's life.
Totally.
Where I was like, okay, mentorship is super important there. That was really important for me. I had a big sister, some women who don't have that. How can I be of service?
100%. Yeah, that this year was the first year that I volunteered to help coach. And I just how rewarding that was.
Super rewarding.
And giving back, so
it's unmatched, and you have no idea what that impact does to somebody.
Totally, yeah. And not even selfishly, but it just made me feel so good or so well, and I was really glad that I did that. So that was cool to see. So what brought you into real estate? Kind of tell me what was the calling with that?
So, of course, the pandemic happened. So prior to real estate, I was in sales and events.
Okay, cool.
So I was in sales and events in the hospitality industry. I worked for Marriott for maybe 4 or 5 years or so. And then I went to a catering firm. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. And now events aren't happening anymore. So now I have to kind of pivot. And I went to real estate, which is something I was always interested in, but wasn't sure when I was going to make that actual transition.
Totally.
Which the pandemic kind of forced my hand a little bit, but here we are. And it panned out.
Yeah, right. So how do you see that? How do you see business going for you? Has it been, for some agents, been a little bit more difficult in maybe the last 6 months compared to the pandemic when it was just
booming?
Yeah.
I would say, of course, when I first started, I was in the thick of it. So I started during a market when people were like, this is nuts. I've never experienced anything like that. More experienced agents. But now that it's, I don't want to say slowed down, but stabilized, what seemed slow to me, more experienced agents are like, oh no, this is normal. This is how it's supposed to feel. And I'm like, okay. Because when I started, everything was hot, moving, showings all the time, getting outbidded, multiple offer situations. It was nuts.
Yeah,
but that's all I knew. So I'm like, okay, this is how it's fast paced. It's moving. So when it slowed down, I was like, is everybody feeling this? Is this how it's supposed to feel? And they're like, yeah, this is it. This is normal.
Yeah. So what are you doing to try to stand out now? With that being said, things have gotten a little bit more challenging. What are some of the things that you think that you are trying to implement into your business?
I would say definitely making sure I am maintaining relationships with prior clients and kind of nurturing relationships just in general, just to make sure you're staying on top of mind, because there was a time where everybody was reaching out to you. Now it's okay, well, I need to do things that kind of make sure, just reminds people what I do, so that when they do think of things, they think of me, or think of real estate, they think of me.
Right.
Channeling into social media, because things were a little slower. Now I have time to kind of dedicate that content and be like, okay, let's be more consistent here. What do I need to put on here? What is something that people want to see? People want to know. People love information.
Totally.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that's helped me, putting things that people want to see and that draws people to you.
Yeah, I think, too, the play with that is, having, in the beginning of it, having an idea of, what you want to accomplish with the content. I want everyone to know that I'm a real estate agent. I want everyone to know that they can come to me, and then I want them to know whatever your third thing is.
Right.
But having a real directive in what you're doing with content, I think is the real play with it, because too many people, we've seen Memo 9s, they don't have enough of the direction of let me just be this, and then the rest will follow.
Exactly. And
Right.
I think that's very key. No, in a case like a lot of people are just doing trial and error, and I get that, and that's fine. That's part of the
You gotta
process.
start, yeah.
You have to do something.
Yeah.
Don't think too hard about it. Now you're not doing anything because you're overthinking it.
Totally.
I think it helps to, like you said, kind of have that direction. What do I want to put out there, and just kind of stick with that.
Yeah, being consistent. Yeah, we always, Mema and I always say this: keep it simple, stupid.
It works.
and that works for like so much stuff. I'm like notorious for trying to like overdo it, and Memo's like, dude, pull back.
Yeah.
You know, come on. So that's cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you see that and that you know is on your radar. So where do you see like you're doing most of your transactions? Do you have like a specific area that you're kind of your niche, quote unquote?
I would say a lot of my business is on the south side of Chicago.
Cool.
Mainly probably between Bronzeville and Woodlawn the most as of lately, honestly. I've had some transactions in the suburbs too, in the south suburbs. I've had some on the north side, but my probably bread and butter is for sure on the south side.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Do you think where are you finding yourself? Like, is it mostly first time home buyers? Are you getting renters? Are you getting buyers, sellers?
The majority of my business is first time home buyers.
Cool.
I've had a second time home buyer and I've had sellers as well, but first time home buyers is like those are my top demographic right now.
Yeah,
Which I'm not mad at. I enjoy it. I enjoy informing them and helping them pretty much navigate the most expensive purchase of their life. So
right. That in itself has to be one of the more rewarding things of being in real estate is that you're helping them, like you said, do one of the biggest transactions that they'll ever do. And the cool thing too is that buyers become sellers, or renters become buyers become sellers. So
we love a conversion.
yeah. So, you know, it's all the long-term play with all of this stuff that, you know, it's going to keep the snowball effect starts to happen. That's cool. So you're down south, first-time home buyers. So what do you think is a good way? Have you been able to actually generate leads from social media?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
now
think
we're talking.
that's what made me excited when I first started. Like, you start doing social media. I'm like, okay, well, everybody's doing it. They said this is what works. Yeah. I'll do it. I'll try it. But when I actually started getting clients who were like, oh, yeah, I saw you on Instagram. I want to work with you. I was just like, you do?
Hell yeah. Yeah. But how crazy is that, though, that we always say this too, is like you might not be getting the likes, but people are still, whatever they call them, impressions. Like they're still seeing that.
Oh, for sure.
So like the spread of it is so much more than just like someone liking it. It's that they're seeing it, and then it's cool though that they're commenting to you, like, oh, I see what you're doing, and now you're like,
right.
Hell yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah. Do you how much of a strategy do you have with it? Do you just kind of see what you like and then kind of go from there, or do you have like
I kind of have a strategy. So
inside baseball?
A little bit.
Okay.
So
we don't have to go too deep into it, but if you want to,
I'll talk about my process. I'm not I think it'll help somebody. So what I do, I scroll to see what other people are posting and what like appeals to me.
Yeah.
If I see something that I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably do something like that. Or I have like a little notes app or a note in my phone on the notes app. And anything that I want to post, like, okay, like testimonials or, on this day I'll do like a little quiz. I see people love when I do like the Chicago quizzes.
Really?
People engage with that and they like it a lot on my story. So I was like, oh, well, as tedious as it is to do it, people enjoy it. So I'll make the time and kind of create it. Any type of content like, oh, I'll do something for first-time home buyers this day, or I'll do something for sellers tips this day. I kind of map out what it's going to look like. Oh, something that's going to, let's do a community headlight, like a new restaurant in the neighborhood or something like that. Right. I map all of that out.
Yeah. But,
and then I just pull from like basically a topic in a hat of which one I'm going to post today. Essentially.
Yeah. Do you have kind of like do you post a lot? Well, for us, we do a lot of bulk stuff, so we'll come like one day and we'll get you a bunch of reels, right? And then you have with the idea that like, okay, here's your month of content, and now we're like getting it figured out. Is that kind of what you're saying you're trying to do, or
pretty much? So like Thursdays are my content day. So that's
Totally.
the day where anything I'm going to make, I create it already, like in Canva or something.
Totally.
And then now that Instagram has the new scheduled content feature, I'll use that to kind of push everything out for the following, like the next 7 days.
Yeah, that was when I figured that out, that was a huge
Game changer.
I'm like so happy.
For sure. There's no way I'm going to sit down every single day and create this. I have to have a system.
You use Canva. Have you used the Magic Write tool?
I have not. Are you giving me a secret now?
Just look into it.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Look into that.
Okay.
It's good. It does well. It does well. But yeah, no, I think that's for us, like, my biggest thing has always been posts, like trying to post every day. It's infuriating.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I figured it out, well, recently we've been posting like crazy. Like, well, but once I figured that out and I'm able to do it, it's like been such a relief to me. But it does take more like back end work.
For sure.
Which is cool. It's like I'd rather do that than like each morning waking up for
exactly
2.5 hours. I'm posting on LinkedIn, YouTube. I'm like, Jesus.
Exactly. If I pick a day to create bulk content and just push it out over time, makes it way easier. It's another job, but it's fine.
Cool. Have you thought about what you would... So this is what I always think with leveraging the social media platform to get sellers, to get sellers, because then you can come up with like a media package to be like, this is what, not only my platform, but here's like how well I can do everything.
Right.
I always think that's cool. Like that you guys you could leverage your social media to sellers to like, because the way to get more eyeballs on your listings, right, is to use social media. But I think that's cool. I just was kind of going down the road of like, I think agents should really be thinking about that if they're not, like what social media can do for your branding to sellers.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really interested to see what everybody does in the coming in the next coming years. What's your stance on if you're not in social media and doing it well, like not even doing it well, but like being consistent? Like, do you feel like those agents are going to be obsolete?
I'll say no, only because there are some agents who just have a very established, solid spear, and those people are always going to come back to you. Which is great. Like, I love that for them. I think it'll be a little more competition for them, but I think with them having a solid spear, I don't think they'll go obsolete, but I think their niche will be they're not going to grow. Their niche is just going to be their niche. Their people are just going to be their people. Yeah. The growth is probably going to be a little slower than somebody who's like, oh, I grow because I've gotten my entire year book of business came from social media. Whereas you just got yours from your country club friend.
Yeah, right. What do you think, though? What do you see the trends going? Where do you kind of see what's happening? Or just like even in the trends of real estate with social media, and then like the bigger trend of social media as a whole?
I would say some trends that I see are...
It's a good question, Bobby.
I think it is a good question. I think what was a huge trend that probably was inspired during the pandemic, but has been like, now it's a norm. Yeah. I think doing virtual tours online or using social media like a reel or something or a TikTok has been super helpful for people to get that larger reach. Like if I have a listing or rental somewhere and I did like a virtual tour of it and I made it a reel or a TikTok and I posted it, now somebody who's probably in Cali who's relocating to Chicago is like, oh, totally. I just saw this whole place and I need to find a place I'm moving. This is perfect. Yeah. So it's giving that additional reach, whereas they don't really have access to our MLS yet or have the wherewithal to search for something in another state, but I saw it on TikTok and I like this one, so I'm going to reach out to this agent.
Are you on YouTube at all? And do you think that's a play?
I am not on YouTube. I think that could be a play. Yeah. I have a friend who like YouTube is that's her jam. That's my jam. That's what she does. But she's in a totally different industry. Book Talk is her. What is her sphere? Book Talk. So what do you call it? Like people who review basically books.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what it's called. It's like BookTube.
Yeah, BookTube.
Yeah, they have their own community.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I would say if you're not, it's another play to like really figure out, I think, using longer form content to your advantage, right? So like for us, this long form content is going to live not only on all our social media, right? But it's going to also be on YouTube. But then we can use their feature of Reels, right? So all of this whole podcast is going to be cut down into like 15 Reels.
Right.
We can use all the content on the other platforms to drive them back to YouTube, where we can monetize, where we can start to make longer form video. And then people, you know, if they search us, can find us like even quicker. Like, those are the dudes that do the best property tours in the city. And so yeah, I think that's something you should be thinking about as well, just like as another like way to get content. Okay. Like for us, right? We sit here, we do a whole day, right? But we do 3 of these. We're gonna do 3 podcasts, and that's 15. That's 45 reels for if
for
we
all
want
your
to post
platforms.
Yeah, for once a day if we wanted to do every one of them. But like that's a little too much. But on YouTube, we'll post every one of them, and then sprinkle that in with our other content, which is cool. Yeah. Yeah, so there's like so many ways to like kind of hack the system with it. And always like if you do bulk stuff or like stuff longer form, it's always like it's like always easier for a production crew to come in and do.
This is true.
Yeah, because it's just like, oh, they only had to come in once, now I got it forever. So that's what we've been doing a lot of.
Something to think about.
Yeah, dude. Have you thought about using advertisements on social media, but like more as like sales videos, like using it where you're promoting it? Have you gone down that road?
I have not gone down that road yet. I'm pretty sure I will. It just hasn't come up as of yet.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it though.
No, not opposed to it?
Not opposed to it at all.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think for some people, I think it just allows you to kind of test out what things are working for you and not, right? Because you can do like an A/B video, like one video testing out the other. Like you can target the same people, but do it in 2 different ways, and then you're like, which one worked?
Right.
And I think that's just like another way to be more strategic with stuff, which is cool. I think that will be ultimately just gets you more well defined on social media, and like so that's a thing I think for people out there to think about, like, hey, how can I leverage what I know, what I'm learning from these videos? Right. How do you balance being authentic online and like, but still being business, right? And still having like, I'm buttoned up, but I got to show a little bit of me.
I feel like, at least how I personally balance it, I feel like I'm still very mindful on my page because I still want to come off professional, but at the same time, like I want to seem personable. Like I want you all to see what I find funny. So like some of the reels that I make, I find them funny. Yeah, yeah. And that's the content I'm looking for. Like some things I want them to be informative at the same time. Like this is hilarious. I think it's funny. Anybody who wants to, work with me, they'll probably find this funny as well. Yeah, yeah. Now I will be honest. I have 2 pages. I have my real estate page, and then I have my personal. You got the wild page. Yeah, well, yeah. For lack of better words, yes. Because I feel like you can be authentic, and that's fine. But to be like my true, like uncut self, I think I still need to keep up my personal page. Yeah, I would say if you're going, that's like just smart. That's just smart. Yeah, I'm like, it's nothing personal. It's not that I'm hiding anything. I promise I'm not, but it's just, this is a little bit more personal. But there are some people who obviously know I don't want to say my real self, but like my personal self. Yeah, yeah. But still work with me. And there are people who they knew me as me first before they have been even exposed to like my real estate self and still want to work with me. So I'm like, okay, well. You could do a little bit of both. Yeah. I am so down that road because for a while, I mean, before I started my own our company and like started to be like come more of a face, like my stuff was wild. I'm like, ugh. Right. I had to like purge most of mine a while ago. Exactly. Like, oh, God, was I really doing that? But
But that just like, I think just more growth,
Mm-hmm.
like just learning, like, especially if you want to be a face of a company, you gotta like
Exactly.
gotta like, be able to just handle biz. And
Exactly.
it's just it would be too much even for me. Like I couldn't do both. I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
I'll just because it's like a business. It's my business, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like outside of business, I'm not even trying to be on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I gotta do it every day for so much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just keep this over there. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad that you're able to like separate that
Oh,
stuff.
for sure. And
Yeah.
it's at first I was like, oh, do I want to manage 2 pages? It's really not that bad at all.
Yeah. Well, one's like I said, business, and I'm sure the other one you're just like fucking
Really,
around.
yeah, it's really just
Yeah.
I'm out on the weekend
Yeah.
or something like that. And then my real estate Instagram page is actually tied to my Facebook page,
Oh, cool.
so it
You
pushes through what it needs to push through.
do you work with anybody else? Like, do you work for a team or anything, or is it just you?
Nope, just me.
What's your thoughts on that? Do you see? Well, I mean, what's your kind of go
Thoughts
down?
on like a team versus
Yeah,
independent?
yeah.
I'm not opposed to either one, honestly. I started independent and it was fine. Like I thought I wanted to join a team, honestly, when I first started. And my the development manager at the time, she was saying, she said, well, have you met the team members? And I was like, yeah, I have. You know, they seem really nice. They seem cool. They seem like they're in alignment with what I want to do. And she was saying, have you like worked with them? Like, have you collabed at all? And I was like, yeah, and I think we work well. She was saying, her first advice was like, stay independent, and then if you get to know the team and decide you want to join, then go from there. She said, I don't think you should start on a team, because she was saying she knew so many people who joined a team just out the gate, and none of them are on that team anymore because they didn't know the people, didn't know the structure, and they realized it wasn't a great fit.
Yeah.
So not necessarily, there's nothing wrong with being on a team, but if you are going to explore a team option, learn the team first, learn their structure, and see if that's for you,
Yeah.
and then go from there.
Yeah, do
There's
that.
nothing wrong with being independent
No, I mean, we know
or a
plenty
team.
of, yeah.
Yeah, there's benefits to both, I'll
Totally,
say.
I bet you it's, who were you kind of looking up to in the beginning, like when you first started? Were you just kind of figuring it out on your own?
A little bit of figuring out on my own, but then also, again, I had met some women that work for the brokerage as well who were like, oh, you just started? Oh, you're in this certain area? Okay, well, we are too.
Awesome.
We have a listing here. See if we need some help, we'll reach out to you. Let us know how we can help. Let us know if you have any questions. Like, they immediately welcomed me in, which was great.
Yeah, that's so great. Like,
It
especially
was.
when you're getting started. Like, everybody needs help.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. So, what advice do you have for people that maybe are just starting in real estate, and then kind of like what could they do, or what do you think might be something they should at least be thinking about?
I would say if you don't already have like a sphere of influence just yet, start figuring out what organizations or what places you can join to kind of build a network. I would say it's important to, it sounds so redundant, but you do have to remind people what you do.
Yeah. You stay top of mind.
For sure. And just let them know how they can support you. Sometimes your friends don't know how to support you. They don't know that a referral would really help me out, or they don't know that letting someone know what you do, or if they're having an event, kind of bringing you on or something to that effect.
Yeah.
I would say also a redundant thing we're talking about, but social media helps.
Yeah.
Before your business like really takes off, make sure you have like a platform or a brand or something that people can refer to.
Yeah.
So that when you are growing, they can see, oh, well, she's been doing this for a while, or she's,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have, I don't want to say you have downtime, but you have that downtime to really build it up.
Yeah, you do.
Because once you're in the thick of it and busy, you don't have time to sit here and
Yeah.
record and do things like that.
Totally.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's something that I think anyone can take, is that you have, while you do have the time initially, like really think about building it and like starting your brand
And education.
and educate. Well,
Take as many like trainings or learning the market, anything you can do that would be of service for your clientele.
Yeah.
That matters.
yeah, 100%. I think too, it's in our, I guess how I would say this, like learning when we first started learning how to ask for like you said referrals, but like learning how to like actually like, I'm looking for this. Can, you know, and like just like the power of asking. Mem always says, closed mouths don't get fed.
They
So
don't.
if you don't, you know, if you don't ask, but if you don't ask like appropriately or like with the right like keywords, like, hey, I'm looking for this specific, maybe first time home buyer or whatever. People are like, oh, if you don't know, I don't know.
Right.
You know, how am I supposed to help you?
It's hard.
Yeah. That's awesome. Real estate isn't so easy. So do you want to, has there been any like really hard things that have happened that you had to get through? Or, and, you know, and also vice versa. Has there been anything that's happened that's really stuck with you as far as being able to help somebody?
One of the more challenging things that I would say I've done so far, it was actually one of my transactions.
Okay.
It was for one of my really great friends.
Oh, no.
And still a great friend. No, we're still. I don't. It doesn't end bad. I promise.
Oh no.
It was one of my best friends. It was honestly one of my most challenging deals, and not because of my friend or anything like that.
She'll know.
She will. That's what I was like. This is going on where, YouTube? It was challenging because it was the team that I was working with were people that she wanted to work with. So another family member had used them before, and she wanted to use them on her transaction, which is fine.
Someone else's cousin. We always
literally.
That's what we call
Did we talk about this already?
No.
Literally.
We've had one of those.
Man, and they were able to help her other relative, and she wanted to use them as well, which, okay, fine, you know, no worries, I'm a team player. And it was a challenging deal because the communication was different than what I was used to with my preferred lender or my preferred attorney or my preferred just team in general. And it made the transaction just a little bit more challenging than it needed to be.
Yeah.
We got through. She's in the home that she loves, and it's the perfect home for her. I'm glad. I am so thankful we were able to get her to the closing table, but it was frustrating.
Yeah.
But I made it through, and I'm glad I did. But that was probably one of the challenging deals where I was just like, do I want to help another friend? Like it was that.
Sometimes it's hard to mix business and friendship.
For sure.
You're like, ugh, no.
Right. I would do it again. Absolutely. If my friends, anybody wants to reach out to me, I would help them in a heartbeat, and always will. But
there is always their set of things that are like just challenging because you're like, at the end of the day, you still want to be friends with them. But
oh, absolutely.
Like, do I like you anymore?
Right. No, still love her, but it was just like, girl, can we please get rid of this person on this deal? Like
the importance too of like having a good team to back you up, like that's what you are
super
as
important.
a real estate agent a lot, or at least what I noticed. You guys are point guards.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
You usually have a guy for everything or a girl.
Absolutely. I have a team of inspectors, team of lenders, like it's an entire preferred vendor list, if you will.
Yeah. How do you what's your thoughts as far as like business like that? Are you big into like I always like to refer people to other people. Like I think that's like one of the biggest compliments you can give like another business is like, oh, you need a guy, like that's the team to go to.
Absolutely.
So but I think that's a style of business. Would you say that's something you really, or that's your style or part of your style? I
would definitely say so. It says a lot. I truly trust this person's services and this person's how they're going to take care of you because I've worked with them. It is, like you said, it is the biggest compliment.
Right.
I'm choosing to refer you this person because I trust this person.
Right.
It's a trust thing.
100%. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite parts about it. And then, but there's always that like residual thing too. It's like, oh, they sent me to someone that was great. Like they must be great. You know, like they only work with this type of person.
Exactly.
And then they must be that type of person. And I think that is just one of the strongest things for your business that you can do.
It makes a difference.
Oh, well, hey, Marie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate
to
meet you.
It was nice meeting you too. It really was like a conversation.
Yeah. Right there, we're going to have you say where they can find you. If you have anything cool coming up, like do your shameless plug, all you.
Trying to think. Well, of course, you can find me on Instagram, Marie the Realtor. I've lived in Chicago all of my life, born and raised. I probably have a good handle on first-time homebuyers at this point. It's something I'm actually more passionate about at this point. I'm learning in my career that I actually want to make sure that you are as informed as possible to make the most knowledgeable decision as you're going through your process.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I always say, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Marie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.